How old are you right now, if you don't mind me saying?
53.
53. I'm 51. You're 53. Most of them are younger. Some of them are a little bit older. But eventually, everybody's going to be here one way or another, hopefully. What advice do you have for people doing jiu-jitsu in their 50s now? And what are your current objectives and goals with jiu-jitsu?
Right. So certain things never change. So if you're in your 20s, it's the same. Again, believe in jiu-jitsu, really trust the technique. Even when it's not working, it's the right thing to do because it will work eventually. Like jiu-jitsu, like more than you like winning, that will take care of 90% of your problems at 20 years old, 30 years old, 53 years old. And then, I'm working a good amount of strength. I'm working a good amount of mobility. I'm yoga when I can, breathing. There's always a tension between time and money, right? Time and money are limited, and so if at those points in my life when I have limited time and resources, I will focus on jiu-jitsu. But if you have a little extra time and or a little extra money, I think doing some external work on strength, mobility, breathing really pays a lot of dividends. And having said that, it's always important because I don't want to be misunderstood. None of my jiu-jitsu succeeds or fails because my bench press goes up or down. None of my jiu-jitsu succeeds or fails because I can do more yogic flexibility things. Those are about injury prevention and structural stability in my body. But when I win, it's not because I'm stronger, and when I lose, it's not because I'm weaker. It always comes back to jiu-jitsu and being more technical, I think.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned the breathing. Glenn's been focused a lot on that. You've been focused on that, and it seems to be a big part of jiu-jitsu, and it seems to go hand in hand so well, as we talked about, with a lot of Hickson's curriculum. Hickson's curriculum, like we were discussing last week, fits together so well in a way that jiu-jitsu, prior to seeing the full depth of the curriculum, I think what I felt like a lot of times is you have a little bit of guard from here and a little bit of half guard from here and a little bit of mount from here. But with Hickson stuff, the transfer of weight, the connection, the going from passing into the cross sides, the escaping, all of it meshes together so well. And yes. I can see at this point, though not understand directly, and certainly not teaching at this moment, where the breathing would fit in with the rhythm of how all that fits together. But how do you see it at this moment now, having spent some time thinking about it and working on it, where the breathing fits in with that?
Right. So there's breathing as a solo drill or solo exercise, which is just becoming stronger and more efficient with the many muscles involved in breathing.
Right.
And then there's breathing while doing jiu-jitsu. I have not and really don't need to do what Hickson did with sort of deliberately manipulating his heart rate through breath and things for a real fight and trying to outlast someone in like a real fight. But in sparring, I simply focus on never breathing through my mouth, never breathing audibly. And if you can do those two things, your breathing will be regulated. If I can
keep your mouth closed while you're rolling.
Yeah, breathing through my nose, and then even through my nose, not, my partner can't hear me breathe. My coach can't hear me breathe. I think that's a good, if I hear someone breathing, mm-hmm. When I'm rolling with them or if I'm coaching, I know they're going too hard. And certainly when I hear them like grunting, which happens sometimes too, like they're trying to oop on, it's like, ugh! Or they're trying to come out with an underhook from half guard bottom and it's like, ah! Yeah, I just know their breath is all messed up at that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, just and trying to start and finish rolls with the same breath rate has been really helpful as well. And people say, yeah, but I can't do that because, he passed my guard. And it's like, well, then you're not worried about your breathing. You're worried about your guard. It's about priorities.
Right.
Yeah.
Where would you prioritize breathing?
Well, so it depends on every role, but basically, it's the most important in that I want to begin and end with it pretty much even. So it's
Right.
important as like as kind of bookends
Right.
to the role. But then once you have that and it becomes a habit, you can forget about it and prioritize other things.
Right.
But if my breathing is going, I'd have to go back to it. If I can maintain my breathing, then it is my priority, I go consciously to other things like, oh, do I want to work mount bottom today? Okay, I'll let people mount me and stuff. But if any time my breathing goes, I'd have to return to that, I think, as the most important thing.